Hey, what's going on, guys? We're on Turkey here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're revisiting Flamecaller. I had done a video on him a couple of months ago. We were playing a fire air deck, but I haven't stopped playing him and I've really been refining the list. And I've created a really strong one that actually uses a whole third color. We're going to be splashing Earth, and I'm going to get into why you should be playing 3-color Flamecaller. To start it off, I discovered Rift Valley as a fundamental Flamecaller tool. It allows us to cut summoning spheres from the deck. We still have the one Jihad because it's great synergy, but by eliminating spheres from the spellbook, you get less redundant draws, and Flamecaller really can't afford redundant draws because he doesn't have any draw built into him, and fire is not the best element for card draw. So Rift Valley functions similarly to the sphere. It's obvious, like, you can't play units on enemy sites because Rift Valley is your site, but you can get units adjacent to your enemy avatar. Our Vile Imps, Dragonettes to some extent, Kobolds, and Infernal Legion all love being summoned right on top of the enemy avatar, and so does Doomsday Prophet. Rift Valley also lets us play more sites. You can build off of the Rift Valley, and in particular it's great with Vesuvius because now you could play a Rift Valley and then have a void adjacent to it that's near the enemy avatar, play Vesuvius, and then you threaten them with 3 damage or force them to move, which some avatars really like to not move. Looking at you, Sorcerer. So Rift Valley is really great because we get to trim summoning spheres, get less redundant draws, and can play other sites adjacent to it to set up scary plays. When I started doing that, I was using it just as a colorless site, honestly, but then I kind of figured we could just start running Common Sense and we can put a couple more Earth sites in this Atlas. So in total, we've got 6 Earth sites. You don't really need 6, but I feel that there's a lot of site destruction in hyper competitive decks, looking at Roots and just a lot of other sites that play, or not, a lot of decks that play sinkholes, and if they happen to destroy an Earth site, I want to be able to get another one. The only Earth spell in the deck is Common Sense, which we run at 3, so you're likely to see at least 1 throughout a game. You only need 1 Earth attunement in this deck. In general, you're looking for 3 fire, 2 air, and 1 Earth for your attunements. And we have a pretty good Common Sense package. We have 1 Pit Vipers, we have 2 Cavalry, we got the 2 Imps, 1 Grapple Shot, which I will oftentimes just generically grab Grapple Shot if I'm playing Common Sense to spend my mana, and because I don't actually have a real need for anything. 1 Disenchant, which is always good to have. 4 Blinks. Won't grab Blinks very often, but sometimes in a pinch you need it. And it lets us just draw what we need, when we need it. Aside for that, I cut Pact with the Devil. That was in one of the earlier versions of the deck, but it was also forcing me to play Lava Salamanders, and I realized that Lava Salamanders are just the worst minion in this deck. So we cut the Pact, we cut the Salamanders. It lets us put in Common Sense, which is kind of going to be similar to the Pact. You're not drawing 3 random cards. That's awesome, but you're going to get to fix your draws and have less bad minions in the deck. So that's awesome. Sandworm, forgot to mention him as a target, but he's great. He's 4 power. He doesn't die to berry effects, and Landbound doesn't really come up a whole lot. And yeah, really good in those kinds of matchups where your opponent is playing Earth. We got the 2 Wizards so that we can draw spells. Infernal Legion is our big bomb in the late game. You're going to summon him on your Rift Valley, deal 3 to the opponent, clear out some dudes. He's scary with Grapple Shot. If you're able to untap with Infernal Legion and you have Grapple Shot in your hand, that is 15 damage your opponent is looking at. That is a attack for 6, Grapple Shot for 6, burn for 3. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm heavier on Kobolds than I was before. I think it used to be 3 Imps, 2 Kobolds. Now it's 2 and 3. I like the Kobolds. They work better with Trinket. They work better with Jihad. They oftentimes will not die right away, and so just the repeatability of their effect is better than the Vile Imp Genesis. But having the Imp on 2 and being able to kill some early things is nice. So it's not like they're out completely, but just just talking about the adjustments I've made throughout the months here. Still on Doomsday Prophet, still love this guy. I mean, you know, you play him near the enemy avatar, you tap Flamecaller, you dome him for 1,000,000. It's so fun. Definitely, like, this is a reason you play Flamecaller right here, is Doomsday Prophet, and Legion. And this is a list. I'm trying to keep this short. We're going to get into some games. They're all Sorcery League games. So far, this deck has been tearing it up in Sorcery League. I'm 10-4 with this deck. So, not like amazing, like I'm losing some games, but like 10-4 in general is like, I don't know, above a 60% win rate. So that's like really solid in a card game. Anything over like 54% is like really good. So the fact that you're seeing 60% here, and I think a lot of people maybe don't expect this type of shindiggery from Flamecaller, but it's what we're rocking. And yeah, we're going to get into some games, show you the deck, and I hope you guys like the video. If you like the video, be sure to leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out a lot, and it means a lot. So thank you guys. Have a good day, and I hope you enjoy the games. Alright, so we're starting things off in game number 1 here, up against a Sorcerer player. We're going to take a look at our mulligan. I forget who's going to go first this game. We're going to find out when we see who goes first. But mulliganing the Grandmaster Wizard, missed the other spell Blink. Yeah, I don't like to hold Blinks because there's 4 of them in the deck. Tend to feel like I'll draw more. Wizard is kind of just a 6 mana unit that I don't want in my opening. And contemplating the Watchtower, but seeing it's Sorcerer, I tend to just like assume it's a Fury Road deck, even though there's lots of flavors with Sorcerer. But there's no, unless they're maybe playing Infiltrate, Watchtower is not going to do a whole lot. So we mulligan to find better attunement or just better utility sites, and we see a Rift Valley from it. So the opponent went first. They played a color out of space, leaving us kind of guessing what they could be doing. They have all colors right now. Play the Windmill up front. Looking really good on the attunement. We hit our 2 air. We'll have 2 earth when we play this Rift Valley. So I guess what we really want to see is more fire sites. We want to see 3 fire, 2 air, 1 earth. And then the opponent plays Boss Control on 2. So very strong. Right now I don't have an answer for that. We're going to draw a site. And we're very thankful to see the desert, which we can now ping the Boss Control with. And use this Violimp in our hand to clear it out. And pass to the opponent. Rift Valley on 4 is maybe my favorite turn to play the Rift Valley, because a lot of games open up with this kind of site configuration. Play to the front and then just kind of start playing to the side. We're going to send the Rift Valley above our Windmill. Opponent is first going to fire bolts. They're going to take care of that imp with 1 damage due to the desert ping, hit us for 2. But when we play this Rift Valley, we're going to split his 2 deserts and get it on the center. It's going to leave us with a site adjacent to the enemy avatar that we can drop our units like the Kobolds and the Legion we see now. Actually going to tap for a site first. No issues there. Like this desert isn't, you know, his column isn't going anywhere. That is just free real estate. And I like to kind of tap for a site on 3 because a lot of this deck is playable at 3 mana. So I like to take the time around turns 3 and 4 to tap for sites, kind of continue playing out our hand, and kind of wrestling for card advantage by using Flamecaller to tap for sites. Obviously, Sorcerer will outdraw us. We take the turn to Common Sense and grab Sandworm. We'll be able to play him next turn, and it's good in this matchup because we can expect the opponent to be playing some berry effects. Even though so far we just see heavy fire. I actually still don't know. But now we see a Dalcian Phalanx come down, so that's a really scary unit. But now I'm really happy actually that I saved this Rift Valley because again, it's right where we wanted to put the Rift Valley. And we can just shimmy this Phalanx over to the side with none of our sites adjacent or in front of the Phalanx. So we get that going. The other great thing about this site configuration here is now when we're ready to send our Flamecaller projectile, there's no way for the opponent to play a unit to body block it. We have complete control of this center column except for his home site. But with projectiles, we'll get to choose what we want to hit when there's multiple valid targets. So we just have like a really heavy line of sight on our opponent now that he can't play a unit and body block. And we're going to get this Sandworm out. We're going to keep it away from the Phalanx. I'm not going to play it on the Rift Valley because, again, we kind of just see like heavy fire and the color out of space. He could be playing grapple shots, and so I don't want to give him an easy way to position this Phalanx. Right now, this Rift Valley did a lot of work in essentially removing a card. He's going to go for a Common Sense, and I guess if he has a Grapple Shot or a Blink in the deck, now we would kind of see it in action. So we're going to see what he picks up here. Our hand is very top-heavy with the Infernal Legion and the Death Dealer, but we will be able to play Smokestacks next turn and get to 5 mana. And then we're only 1 mana off of playing the Legion, and we'll need another for Death Dealer. But right now, it's not even looking like we're going to really need Death Dealer anytime soon. And he Common Senses for another Firebolt, so going for a bit of a burn strategy here. Plays a step. He can move the Phalanx forward, but it's still not... I'm just not going to play sights to my right. Like, I'm now kind of cornering myself into these 6 sites to my left, but that's okay. And if we're able, we could even get to 7 mana if we happen to like play on what is that 6 to the left of his desert. We could just get 7 sites. Well, actually, no, we have the Rift Valley, so 7 sites is just this box that is pretty entirely ours already. And so we draw a spell for turn. We see Grandmaster Wizard. Not great, because now we're not really playing anything this turn. We're going to probably get the Jihad down, and we can make use of this Trinket to get more damage. In fact, we play the Jihad and the Trinket, and now Sandworm is a 6-power unit. That's really big and is a significant damage chunk. But I might just draw a site for turn next turn so that we can start playing these 6-drops. And again, this Phalanx just doing nothing on the side over here. So yeah, we Trinket the Sandworm, attack his desert under the Jihad. We get 6 damage in total and pass to the opponent. We can't play anything else. Right now we only have 1 damage in our cemetery too. Only the Violent has died. Opponent is doing the double spell, so we can assume he's going to have some plays. He's at 5 mana. And we see a Bosk Troll. Playing it on that desert is really nice for us because it makes us want to play Infernal Legion next turn right on that Rift Valley. We kill the troll, we do 3. And then he plays a Swiven Scout, so now I have to reveal my hand. He's out of mana though, so even though he gets to see my hand and knows what I'm rocking with, these are some pretty big cards that, you know, definitely don't want to give him that insight. And also, like, you know, maybe he should have played the Scout first, because if he had gotten to see my hand, he maybe wouldn't have played the Bosk Troll where he did. But now he sees I have Infernal Legion, and like with this Rift Valley, the Bosk Troll is kind of doomed. I'm going to make a mistake here. I get really excited when I find out the site I drew was a tower, because I'm like, oh, sick, I have 7 mana. But the tower is adjacent to Smokestacks, so I actually don't get 7 mana because the Genesis doesn't activate. What it lets me do is it lets me play the Legion and the Trinket, and so I can swing for another 6 with the Sandworm. But I should only be swinging for 5. This is something that myself and like my opponent kind of missed. Not that like because he didn't notice it, it's okay. Like no, like just a bit of a mistake there. Smokestacks is a really impactful site that kind of lingers in the background and is kind of easy to miss. We'll see if the damage mattered, but he should be at 6 right now. And yeah, we play the Legion on the Rift Valley. Boss Troll gets wiped out. He takes 3. We have a big, scary 6-power minion right in front of him. 7, actually, because of Jihad. And then he's going to Earthquake. Those 4 sites right there. Only buries the Sandworm, which, again, is why I like the Sandworm in this matchup. Now, he didn't move any sites, but he should have moved my Rift Valley and swapped it with his desert so that I no longer have a site adjacent to him. A big part of why this deck is so strong is Rift Valley and like the ability to get units right on top of you. I guess with Jihad, it doesn't make a big difference because I can always summon units on you either way. But still, at least he would be able to summon units in front of himself. He attacks with the Swiven Scout for 2 damage. I draw a sight because I want 7 mana. I have this Death Dealer in my hand. We swing up. So it does kind of matter here, actually, that 1 damage happened because now I don't need to Trinket the Sandworm. And I can just attack under the Jihad. And then what I do is I Death Dealer. Now, I guess it wouldn't have mattered because let's say I Trinket the Sandworm and then I play Grandmaster Wizard as like a blocker. I still put him to door with the Trinket this turn. Death Dealer technically isn't out. He still has all of his minions. Unless he's able to deal 16 damage to me on this turn, which I don't think he would be able to, I would still win on the next turn because Death Dealer, as you see on this board right now, and because of the fact that he never moved Rift Valley, I just have a projectile line of sight. It's one of the other things that Death Dealer can be really good about is actually just clearing the board and giving you a clear shot at the enemy Sorcerer. And so it was a very lousy mistake that I got that extra damage when I shouldn't have due to the smokestacks. But I don't think it would have impacted the game too much because the board state that you see now would just kind of be what I do next turn and then shoot a projectile and finish him. And again, like he really should have moved that Rift Valley with the desert because now, and this is what he's thinking like this turn is how do I can't really, unless maybe he has a Blaze, but it seems like he doesn't. And now I'm kind of like suggesting like maybe Earthquake but he should have done that the first turn is get that desert in front of him so that he could just play a body and stop my projectile. He taps for a spell, probably looking to get some kind of sight shuffle or a minion that can be summoned anywhere, but he doesn't see it. So this game is looking like at turn start, we tap immediately, but we draw a spell first. Cavalry also gets it done, but we get to shoot him for 5 and GG, opponent. Okay, so again in the game number 2 here, we're up against a Geomancer. Haven't played this matchup yet, and I don't know if this is a Roots deck or maybe just like an Earth Air mid-range type of deal. Definitely don't want to see Roots, but we'll do our best against it. It's a matchup that I would like to play more of against this deck because it's somewhat popular right now, and I don't think it's auto lose, but it's definitely not favored for Flamecaller. We're mulliganing 1 sight and 2 spells. I kind of missed what we mulliganed. I was too busy talking. But we keep Sandworm because we can expect some berry effects. Definitely, I think we mulled a desert, and yeah, we want to find better attunement. So seeing this Ruins is really good. Gives us access to an air right away. We want to find 1 more air, and we're very happy to have Rift Valley. So we're going first. We're going to play this Ruins. We'll pass to the opponent. Not too much to say on turn 1. We see Outback Strider. He's great on turn 3. Infernal Legion for when we get there. Having that plus Rift Valley is phenomenal. Opponent plays a Windmill. They make a Rubble. They play a Stone. So really strong start there. Seeing Windmill makes me think it's not a Roots deck because you normally see Earth Fire in Roots. We just play that. We drew a sight for turn. We play Watchtower. Happy to see it because that's our 2 air now. And We don't want to play the desert because we're not doing anything with the ping, and we don't want to play Rift Valley. Although we could have Rift Valleyed on 2 and sent his rubble up and kind of like denied him a rubble. And that would be kind of funny and something I did not think about at the time. But that'd be pretty funny. I don't know. maybe worth. He plays a mixed Terra, so like a lot of mana at this start for him. Kind of scary. We're going to desert away the soldier, the foot soldier that he made on his village. And then we will play this Outback Strider. We draw Pit Vipers, and that's cool. Now we have both of our burrow units against this Earth matchup. So, awesome. Awesome to see that. We'll see if, like, I don't know, maybe he buries the Strider. I didn't want to, like, play the Viper and then do nothing else. So, Outback Strider was just the most mana efficient. He's going to play Holy Ground. He's going to make another Rubble. Of course, this is Geomancer's strength, is being able to get to 6 mana without ever playing a site, or without ever drawing a site. And then he cracks... No, he doesn't even crack the Mixed Terra because of the Philosopher's Stone. He just gets to play a Pudge Butcher on 3. And that's really scary. But Rift Valley, right? So we're going to draw our spell for turn. Even though I would love to tap for a site, this Pudge, like, you gotta, you can't let that happen. Scary thing here, though, is that, he is Earth Air. Now Strider is, like, in the way of Pudge Butcher, so we got to get him out of there. But we can very easily because he's Outback Strider. Probably going to move to attack the Geomancer's site directly. Because if we attack the Holy Ground, we are still in range of Pudge there. And then I don't want to play Sandworm, even though I have the mana, because I'm afraid of a blink. He could blink onto Rift Valley or Watchtower to still be in line of sight of me. But now playing this Pit Vipers there, if he has that, he's going to trade his Pudge with the Pit Vipers. And so, yeah, we needed to play the Rift Valley to get Pudge out of the way. And I would have liked to have tapped for a site, but it is what it is. He plays Earthquake, and I'm like, oh, wait, are you going to kill your Pudge? But he Earthquaked my back 3, moved me in direction of the Pudge, and now he's grapple shotting. He cracked the mix to Earthquake, and so I just took 10 damage there. And he also moved my Vipers way to the back under that Watchtower. And I'm going to make a pretty heavy mistake here. I'm going to draw a spell for turn, and I should draw a site. The reason being is my plan going into this is I'm going to attack Pudge with Outback Strider, and I'm going to then use the 2 from Outback Strider to kill the Pudge using Flamecaller's ability. But Strider can't move freely because he is sharing a site with Geomancer. So I actually can't do that. And now I'm stuck with this Pudge Butcher right on me. And I can't, like, move out of the way because then I just get got again. Well, I'm going to have to move out of the way, but I'm going to have to give him something. Right now I can cast these Dragonettes I just drew, or I can cast Sandworm, which I really don't want to lose a Sandworm because, again, it's kind of good into a lot of his removal. But now, instead of just kind of a clean 1-for-1 trade with the Strider plus, like, Flamecaller tap, now I'm going to have to give him a unit, and he's still going to have this Pudge, which I'll be able to take care of next turn, but, like, it's going to be a 2-for-1, which is not great. So, gotta just deciding what I want to give him, the Sandworm or the Dragonettes. I settle for the Dragonettes because they're only 3 power and they die to berries, and Sandworm is a little bigger and doesn't die to berries. And what I can do is I'm gonna move on to this desert. I could also, though, like, attack his village, and, like, I don't know, that'd be funny, but I don't want to, like, put myself on his sites. When the Dragonettes die to Pudge, I can tap to shoot them at the Pudge first, and then attack with the Strider to kill it, and then I still have the Strider in my cemetery as fuel. We're going to attack this tower here to get Strider. out of the Geomancer's sight, so that now, again, his like ability is live, and we'll be able to send him up next turn to take care of the Pudge. But again, this Pudge is now going to be a 2-for-1. He's going to get our Dragonets and the Strider. When, if I had tapped for a sight, I could have just played the Manticore, like, right on myself. And then he would still get to, like, choose to hit me with Pudge. And I would be taking 5. But the Manticore would trade cleanly. And that's valuable. So now he plays a Rift Valley of his own. And he moves me far away. And not too much to say about that. I think I kind of like being far away right now. He has, what, 5 mana? Plus a stone. And he gets to play a Vampire. So Vampire is kind of unfortunate because I am, like, losing a lot of my cards right now to this Pudge. Like, I'm still trying to deal with Pudge. Now I have to deal with a Vampire. We've done 6 damage to him, and, like, now, like, he's kind of going to heal it back. That's unfortunate. So we have the Vipers are still burrowed, and I'm choosing to move them around burrowed instead of surfacing, just because in case he, like, buries it or something, like, now he's just, like, taking away, like, my movement for the turn. So if I can just keep it burrowed and move it around and surface when I need it, playing around berries. Yeah, we draw a sight, but we're gonna do the thing where we put 2 damage on the Pudge using Flamecaller, attack it with the Strider. Now we have the Strider in the cemetery. We have 4 mana. We're gonna think about this Sandworm. It trades well with the Dapper Vampire, but I am kind of thinking about Whirling Blades right now. And at first I decide to burrow the Sandworm because I don't want to, like, give them, like, maximum heals if they were to, like, Whirling Blade get me and the Sandworm. But at the same time, I'm at 10, and even if they, like, Whirling Blades and then they just, like, attack my Watchtower or whatever, like, now I'm going to 2, and I really don't want that. So it's a little tricky. I really can't play around Whirling Blades the more I think about it. Like, at a certain point, I'm either using this Sandworm to trade with the Vampire, or I'm using it to... Like, my best play is to just say, you don't have Whirling Blades. Maybe you have Grapple Shot, and again, I can't really play around that either. But if you have nothing, this Sandworm is just trading with your Vampire straight up, and that's where I want to be. So I play for, like, the best situation. Because, again, if I played it burrowed underneath myself or some other site, and then they have the Whirling Blades or whatever, like, what's my Sandworm doing? Like, all the way over there. If they decide to trade, that's great. If it eats a Grapple Shot, that is sad, but it is what it is. He goes for Chaos Twister. And he's going to target me. And he gets 1 step to the left. And at first I think it's banished because that's 1 step to my left. But then I'm like, oh, wait, no. It's 1 step to your left. So the Sandworm hits the Rift Valley and then just goes into my cemetery. But then he gets to attack for 4 there. He doesn't heal because he's not striking. And then he will play a Desert over the Rubble. Opponent now has their 6 mana. Makes a Foot Soldier. And I can't imagine he has anything else on this turn. He's already spending 5 now. Well, 3 on the Chaos Twister. Because, again, he has that stone. But still, only has 2 mana available. Passes to me. Seeing these Dragonets are nice. Because I have 3 damage in the cemetery. But I don't really have a way to... I don't have a line of sight on this Vampire, which is unfortunate. So I can't combine the Dragonets with Flamecaller to deal 4. So I just decide he didn't have Whirling Blades last turn or Grapple Shot. So I play the Manticore. It's bigger than the Vampire. It's also airborne, so it can follow the Vampire wherever. And he might, like, he's going to gain 4 if he attacks, but I'm gonna, like, you know, preserve my Manticore. So We throw that at him, and we see what he can do about it. He draws a spell, taps for a sight. He's got this foot soldier all the way over there. The Dragonets can just like ping the soldier. And then he decides to attack the Manticore and heal the vampire. And I'm like, okay, is it Lightning Bolt? And it's Earthquake. And we'll see if he moves any sites. I kind of get it because, you know, the vampire on the same site as the Manticore would have also died to the Earthquake. But he could have moved it out of the way. Like, he decided to, like, cash in the heal and, like, attack and then Earthquake. But I'm not sure. Maybe he should have moved it. Yeah, it depends, like, where he was moving it to. He did move me forward with the Earthquake, and now there's a foot soldier attacking me. But that's not the biggest deal. We just play these Dragonets. They're gonna ping away the soldiers pretty easy. He kept that Rift Valley where it is, and like again, being able to play sites adjacent to the enemy avatar is very strong. So perhaps should have done that. Moved the Rift Valley. We decide to common sense. Nothing in particular that we're looking for, but I grabbed the grapple shot. Is really good with the Infernal Legion. If you're able to like untap with Infernal Legion and then attack, grapple shot, end of turn, deal 3, that's like a 15 damage turn. So very strong. And he plays Chaos Twister, second one, so no more of those. And he's targeting me. He's doing it to my Dragonets. And he hits me this time, so I take 3. I lose my Dragonets. I'm at 2 right now. Very scary. He is going to play a village. All I have right now is this Infernal Legion. Now, it's funny because of where I'm positioned. If I were to play the Infernal Legion on my Rift Valley, I put myself to door. Because the Rift Valley deals 3 at the end of turn. So maybe I don't play Infernal Legion next turn. We draw Common Sense. That's a really interesting one because, of course, it's a lot of different spells. Could maybe get a Cavalry if a minion is what I want. I'm thinking about Blink, so I'm looking at my Cemetery and, like, should I Blink and then shoot? But then I still have the same issue where if I Blink onto, like, his Rift Valley and then I shoot, I'm not tapping for a site. And if I'm not tapping for a site, then I'm not going to be able to play Infernal Legion next turn. If I tap to shoot on his Rift Valley and then next turn I play my site so I have 6 for Infernal Legion, I'm still stuck on his Rift Valley and I'm taking 3 from the Legion. So the tap to shoot doesn't really seem very viable right now. I decide to play a Ruins and get to 6 mana. I'm going to surface with the Vipers. And then it's about what we common sense for here. It probably is a Blink. Blink also just gets us a bit more gas. We get to cantrip. Again, like Cavalry is a consideration. But I'm at 2 and I really don't like the idea of like not having a like if I take advantage of charge, then he's not going to be able to defend for me. So we're going to see what we grab. Disenchant's not doing anything. Vile Imp isn't doing anything on this board. I think Blink just to reposition, and then we'd be able to like move next turn, or like if we just Blink onto Holy Ground, we're fine. And we can play the Legion next turn. So that's where we go. And then we get to draw for the Blink. Kobolds are good. Kobolds are good. And yeah, we can't play the rest of our hand. We've got these Vipers on the surface now. They are tapped, so they can't defend next turn. But You know, this game is about kind of like momentum, and like, you know, you got to get your units where you want them, when you want them. So I kind of want these Vipers just near me at all times, so that they can defend from any direct attacks. Because seeing that this is like an Earth Air deck, yeah, they have grapple shots and whatnot, but a lot of their direct damage is coming from units. So he does charge in Hippogriffs, and now I'm at door. Was not really expecting Hippogriffs against in this type of deck, but they're very good units. He's going to move the Foot Soldiers. And it's going to go to us. I draw a spell. We see Dragonets. Now, Dragonets are pretty good because they can take care of the Foot Soldiers by pinging them away. And it kind of changes what I want to do this turn, because even though I was loving the idea of Grapple Shot Infernal Legion, now I'm at door, and I got these Pit Vipers on the surface, and a Hippogriff's right in front of me. I could like trade. I could offer my Dragonets as a trade for the Hippogriffs, but there's always the fear that maybe he has a second Hippogriffs. So then what do I do? And what I have to do, what I think is best, is Grapple Shot the Pit Vipers into the Hippogriffs and get rid of them, and keeping them untapped while I do it. Move into the corner. Yeah, Grapple Shot the Pit Vipers, kill the Hippogriffs, keep the Vipers untapped, and then we can play the Dragonets on the desert and ping away his Foot Soldiers. And so now he has no units on board. A lot of his like his strike spells, you know, are gonna require units. So if we're able to keep the board clear, his strike spells become a lot less good. And so that's what we're going for. We got 2 minions. We ping away the Foot Soldiers, Grapple Shot the Griffs. Opponent draws a spell. He has a sight in hand. He's got all the mana that he could ask for. I'm now back on my own site. And he's got to think. We're both like, we have cards in hand, but like we're both kind of in top deck mode. It feels like the hands are stagnating. He decides to play a village adjacent to the holy ground. So he's getting a Foot Soldier kind of close to me. And that's scary because, you know, next turn he could Grapple Shot into my Pit Vipers and then attack with the Soldier and get me. So can't let those soldiers stick around. We draw the second Infernal Legion now. So, I mean, we know what we're up to. We got to move these Dragonets, and that's fine because we can have them move and attack. We go for the Holy Ground, kind of anticipating that he would block with the Soldier, but he chooses not to. And that's, I think, just like a mistake, because now the reason why we attack that Holy Ground instead of the village is because we want to ping the Soldier at end of turn with Dragonets. So he should have just like taken the block and saved 3 damage. He's going to take 3 at end of turn from this Infernal Legion, and then the Foot Soldier dies. So again, we keep the board clear. There's no enemy minions. We've got this Infernal Legion who is now like burning him down and being a real problem. We'll see if he has a berry or an earthquake. He had one already. And like if he doesn't have removal for this Infernal Legion, I'm still really scared because I am at Death's Door. And right now, like, I'm not protected from a lightning bolt. I am protected from Hippogriffs. Like, yeah, any unit who is trying to damage me, I kind of have protection from. But a lightning bolt, like, does it. I don't know if he's playing lightning bolt. I know, like, you know, not many decks, unless you're like a dedicated burn deck, play like a full 4. But if he's playing maybe like 2 and he has common sense, it would be not unlikely for him to get me with a lightning bolt. But you kind of just gotta like play around what you can. He goes for Pudge. Pudge right there. So he could, like, pull my... Alright, so he has Divine Healing. He's going to go back to 9. That is kind of ridiculous. So he can Pudge my Dragonette. I could, like, move my units and then shoot the Pudge. We got a Blink. Now, I could just double up Infernal Legion, play my second one on the desert, and then burn the Pudge at end of turn. Oh, no, dude, we have the Kobolds for the Pudge, right? We play the Kobolds on the desert. We attack Geomancer with Infernal Legion, and then our end of turn triggers. The Infernal Legion will burn the Pudge for 3, and the Kobolds will punch it for 2. And we take care of the Pudge that way. And we're doing 9 damage to the opponent with this Infernal Legion this turn. We will get another 3 with the Dragonette if we attack in place. We could even make it 4 damage if we were to attack his Rift Valley. But I don't know. I'm on door. Like, you know, I've kind of sped this. At this point in the game, I've cut a lot of minutes out of these turns. But as soon as I went to door and, like, the opponent didn't have an immediate death blow, I'm now thinking of everything to, like, play around and, like, doing my best to, like, advance my winning state while also, like, not throwing the game to some kind of... Like, one thing I'm thinking is, like, maybe I can, to push the most damage, I could move and attack his... what site is that? The Holy Ground? And then I'm protecting myself from Lightning Bolt. I'll have 2 other units there. But then I'm like, nah, dude, what if he has Raytanis Titan, dude? I don't want to lose to Raytanis Titan. That would be so embarrassing. So, like, I'm just staying where I am. And I am gonna, like, kind of, like, let him have Lightning Bolt. What I can do is I can blink my Pit Vipers onto myself. And yeah, so we attack in place with the Dragonettes. We could attack the Rift Valley and get 1 extra damage from the Dragonette's ping, but I don't think it will matter. All that we have left to do. We're looking at the cemetery. So he actually has 2 Earthquakes in there, 2 Chaos Twisters. Again, there's no Lightning Bolts. He hasn't Common Sensed at all, so I can... Definitely, for sure, he has Common Sense in the deck. I don't know if he has Lightning Bolts. Grapple Shot, I'm sure he has more of. And Whirling Blades has been the card that I've been, like, really scared of all game. And I'm sure he has, like, the full 3 of the Hippogriffs. So I want to keep these Vipers untapped so that I have a blocker. And I want to get a unit on my site so that I'm safe from... I'm not even, like, safe from a Lightning Bolt, but, like, it's not a sure thing. So I will blink the Vipers. And draw a spell. The other thing to contemplating was blinking myself on Watchtower. I think I have enough damage in my cemetery to put him to door. He'll go to 7 at the end of this turn. Due to the Infernal Legion. But we're playing it safe. We're kind of, you know, we're winning already. So. Kind of, like... winning with an asterisk. We are on death's door, but we have a way more pressure on the board right now. And yeah, end of turn, he takes 3. We do a punch burn on the Pudge. It's up to him. He has 3 cards in hand. We have a lot of, like, just persistent damage on the board. Whatever he plays, if it doesn't have charge or some Genesis ability, he might not get to use it. Like, we've got the Dragonettes, the Kobolds, and the Legion here, all just doing things at end of turn. We've even got an Imp in our hand and the second Infernal Legion. So it's really tough for him to be able to, like, play a unit and get it to stick. But he plays a Vampire. Now, that's a good one. It's going to give him healing. I mean, I say it's a good one, but we can just Violimp it and punch. We can move the kobolds and then punch it. No, wait. Because Infernal Legion can deal 3 on its own. So we could just move the kobolds. And then, like, same deal we did with the Pudge. Just burn punch. But then we are losing the kobolds as well. Now he has a Pudge too. So actually, like, really scary stuff here. But we draw Doomsday Prophet. And that's going to change a lot here. Because now Infernal Legion will burn for 6. Dragonettes deal 2. We have like I was just saying, we have a lot of persistent damage on this board. And now, you know, take a look at it. We play the Prophet where those kobolds are on our desert. And then we can attack the windmill. Like, we have door this turn. We can attack the windmill with the kobolds. If we tap... Okay, we play the Prophet. That's going to be, like, step 1. Then we tap Flamecaller for a desert in the corner. We ping the Pudge. Is going to deal 2 because of the Prophet. Attack the windmill with the kobolds. Get 2 damage on him. Kobolds are now in position to punch the Pudge, who has 2 damage on it at end of turn. Dragonettes can attack in place. We don't even need to, honestly. We could keep them up as a secondary blocker. Because this Infernal Legion is going to burn for 6. And it's going to kill the Vampire without any assistance. Because we have such a good placement for the Prophet right here. This is probably the biggest Doomsday Prophet I've ever been able to pull off. And like this is why we play Flamecaller right here, guys. This is why we play the Prophet. This is why we play Flamecaller. Because you get... Every now and then, you get a sick turn like this. Making sure he knows what the Prophet does. Yeah, so we Desert Ping, because it's units near the Prophet. It's not like the damage source has to be near the Prophet. So we Desert Ping for 2 on the Pudge. We attack for 2 on the Kobolds. They are now in position to punch the Pudge for 2. I don't have to do anything with this Infernal Legion. He's just going to sit there, and he's at end of turn. He burns the Vampire and the Geomancer for 6. And I don't have to do anything with these Dragonettes either, because they will just shoot 2 damage at Pudge at end of turn. Trying to explain right now all the end of turn effects that are happening and why they're doing so much damage. That Prophet, that was such a good top deck. That was actually maybe the best card I could have drawn. And so we get him on door. We've got so much pressure on the board. I'm still nervous. Like, he could still have... I am safe from Grapple Shot, but I suppose Small Minion plus Whirling Blades could get it done. Lightning Bolt is a 50-50. But if he's not able to door me, like, he's got to deal with this, you know, everything I've got. I even have an Imp in hand. So he plays a Root Spider Burrowed, and that is pretty good. It stops my Infernal Legion. But it's not everything, because I've got these Dragonettes. They can just move and shoot a projectile next turn. He tapped for a Sight, which is pretty good, because now he can't move. But he was aware of the Dragonettes line, because now he plays an Atlas Wanderers, and he moves himself over there to, is it 4? I think that's 4. Right, and he's got Atlas Wanderers now, where he was. But yeah, no, he is safe from the Dragonettes. I can't Violimp from where he is. I could, like, draw a Blink. Blink would be a good top deck here. We don't top deck it. We see a cavalry, and I don't have any sites adjacent to actually send the cavalry in or to Genesis the imp, so it looks like we just don't have a death blow this turn. But maybe we can figure out a way to deal with the Atlas one. I mean, we totally can. We move up with the Prophet. We don't attack. We just move these Kobolds so that they can punch the Dragonets without having to kill themselves. And we play Infernal Legion. And now Infernal Legion burns the Wanderers for 6. Easy peasy. Not even concerned about moving the Dragonets because secondary blockers, you know what I mean? He is in top deck mode, though. Lightning Bolt, common sense for Lightning Bolt. All of these things could at least make it a 50-50. He plays a Gnome Hollows. And then he starts moving my Infernal Legion because he drew a dud. He drew the Mix Air. So he's just saying, yeah, next turn you can just do that. And yeah, that was one of the best games that I've ever played with this deck, honestly. It was really exciting, very intense. When you go to Death's Door and you are like not dead the next turn and you actually have to play it out in this like very tense situation. That game like was a grind fest, honestly, but a lot of those high power fire minions are able to put in the work and like get you card advantage just through removing units and like dealing damage and still requiring removal themselves. So really great game. Maybe possibly the most fun I've had in the Sorcery League so far. So really GG